What exactly would it change? Would it make ISIL less committed to trying to kill Americans? Would it bring in more allies? Is there a military strategy that is served by this? The answer is none of the above. But there's no magic to the phrase radical Islam. It's a political talking point. It's not a strategy.
President Obama says calling terrorists radical Islamists is not a military strategy. Let's ask four-star general and Fox News military analyst General Jack Keane. General Jack Keane, one of the many things on his resume is helped design the surge that brought Iraq a short period of peace. General, your reaction to the president's tone and tenor about radical Islam?
Yeah, sure. Well, first of all, I don't have as big an issue with naming it. That's not so much the issue. I think the most descriptive term is radical Islam. It's the one we should likely use. If the president wanted to use global jihad, fine. The real issue is we're involved in an ideological struggle in the 20th century with a political and religious ideology that is comparable to what we dealt with communism and Nazism in the 20th century. So this is a serious issue. And the global jihad that I'm describing here, it has doubled in size in terms of the number of countries involved since the president took office. The fatalities 5 years ago were a little north of 3,000. Today, the fatalities from radical Islam are averaging 28,000 a year, according to the investigative project on terrorism associated with the University of Maryland. That is staggering. The reality is we don't define it. We're not explaining it, Brian, to the American people. What are its tenets? What's its lexicon? What's the speech associated with it? And most importantly, we have no strategy to defeat it.
Not according to the president. He says, not only do we have a strategy, we're essentially winning. Let's listen.
And our message is clear. If you target America and our allies, you will not be safe. You will never be safe. Iraqi forces have surrounded Fallujah and begun to move into the city. Meanwhile, in the north, Iraqi forces continue to push up the Tigris River Valley, making gains around Makhmur, and now preparing to tighten the noose around ISIL in Mosul. All told, ISIL has now lost nearly half of the populated territory that it once controlled in Iraq, and it will lose more.
Your reaction? Are we winning?
No, absolutely not. The major group that we targeted since the president came into office was the Al-Qaeda. And he talks about level of effort. Yes, there has been a level of effort, and we've killed hundreds of leaders. The Al-Qaeda has grown, doubled in size since the president took office. It is still expanding to this day since we killed Osama bin Laden.
Not ISIS, Al-Qaeda.
That's Al-Qaeda. That's the #1 enemy that we're after. It has doubled in size, and it is expanding now as we speak. The president talks about Iraq and Syria. The issue has always been Syria, not Iraq. That is the center of gravity of the ISIS movement. It is from there that they conduct their internet campaign. It is from there that they motivate others to kill their fellow citizens.
But we're getting closer and closer to eliminating them, he says.
This is an incremental campaign that is not going to be ended until the next president takes office. The president already admits that. He says, what I'm doing is setting the conditions. This thing should have been crushed last year.
But we don't have the troops in there to do it. We're asking other people to do the fighting. We're advising, correct? If ISIS is our enemy, are we attacking our enemy the way America can attack our enemy?
No, well, you know the answer. I mean, absolutely not. I'm focused on Syria. The problem in Iraq begins to go away very quickly if you dealt with Syria. The Arabs came to us early on when ISIS occupied this sanctuary. By the way, they've held this sanctuary now for 4 years. And they came to us early on and said, look, if we can put together a coalition, you have to lead it. You have to put some troops on the ground with us to take them down. We said no. We said the thought was, that what the president's thought was, all that'll do is an occupation force will force more people to come to that jihad. And that makes no sense because the force is largely Syrian Arabs taking back Syrian lands.
So when the president says he's going after ISIS with 100 special ops in Syria, that's not the effort that's going to bring him to his knees, and time does matter.
Yes, that's not decisive. It's not consequential.
General Jack Keane, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Good talking to Brian.
To get the instant analysis of where we're going with the war on terror, there's a few better people we can go to. Thank you.